Hi, Niamh. It's so good to finally get the chance to sit down and chat to you. And congratulations are in order, actually, because we've recently just heard that you have been announced as Nottingham Forest Netball's first ever captain.
Thanks very much. Yeah, delighted.
So just tell us, what was it like when you found out that news?
I think I was actually really shocked when Chelsea asked me. I think I was like, "Oh, for the whole thing," and she was like, "Yeah, for the whole thing." So like, there's quite a number of leaders in the group, and we'd already formed like a leadership group that's been running for a wee while. And I think if you'd have named captain out of any of the four of those, all the team and myself would have been delighted. So yeah, I just thought it was a massive honour and a real privilege, actually, considering it's an inaugural year as well, to sort of be able to, I suppose, put my like blueprint on it a little bit, not have anybody that's come before to feel like you have to sort of match up to or start in the way that they did, is, I think, a really nice place to be, and such an exciting group to be able to go out and lead. It's They're going to be brilliant on court, but off court they're such a lovely group and already beginning to sort of develop a Forest way together. So hopefully it'll make my job a little bit easier.
That's so funny that you say that you're shocked because when we spoke to Chelsea about it, she said that it was an easy decision, not difficult at all, and she knew that it was you, that she wanted to lead this team for their first year in the Super League. But for you as well, you've been vice captain before, haven't you, for previous teams? This will be your first time as a captain. You say there about it's a team full of leadership. Is that a dynamic that's you think's proving to work really well with this squad?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there can never be, it's a team game, and there can never be one person at the forefront on court or off the court. And yes, some things might come down, fall on my shoulders, and there'd be pressure that comes with, I suppose, being the captain of the team. But ultimately, it's, the 10 of us together as a group, and we're the ones that have to put everything out on court together. The leadership group that we have is full of people who bring totally different styles of leadership to the team. I'm quite loud, I'm vocal, and that is the way I lead. I like to also lead by example. But we have the likes of Ria, who's a really reflective player and likes to sort of find out how people respond and react, and that's something that we really want to tap into. Iona, we know that she's super mum of the team and is a really, really caring personality, and what she brings is a quieter form of leadership, but something that we really need to tap into. And then obviously Tash, she has a vast amount of experience with England, on and off the court, and is just such a lovely person to be able to lead alongside with, and the qualities that she brings on the court in terms of her voice and her experience is something that I'll be really leaning on whenever things get tight.
Well, this season is such a massive change for everybody, but of course, with Nottingham Forest Netball being one of two of the newest teams to the league, I think the change is probably the most here. So, for you, how has kind of the move to being in Nottingham a lot more and this new team all treated you so far?
I think it's been brilliant. Whenever I spoke to Chelsea in the contracting period in the off season, it was like, if we're going to go fully professional as a sport, over the next 5 years, and really try and put netball on the map in terms of female sport and leading the way in terms of professionalisation, what a better franchise to do it with than Nottingham Forest, because they've proven that they've done it with the women's team in football, and the men's team are doing so well at the minute as well. That if you're going to go out and do it, why not do it with a big franchise like this? And to me, it seemed like too big an opportunity to pass up. Yes, there's other new franchises, and yes, there's other franchises that are also professionalising, but I just think what we're able to draw on in terms of the experience from the club here is just such a big opportunity, and something that I'm hoping that we'll lead the way in. And whenever we look back in a few years at like when it all started in terms of the professionalisation of netball, I just really think that Nottingham Forest will be one of those teams, the people that can go like, they really led the way in so many different ways, not just on court, but off the court, in terms of professionalisation.
What I think is amazing is that not only are you training as a professional athlete, as a netballer here, you are also an A&E doctor who has to travel to Bristol to complete your shifts. Now, that is some balance, isn't it, that you manage to do week in, week out? Just to explain to people kind of how that works for you and on a on-week basis, and how you manage to kind of cope with doing both.
Well, I think I'm lucky. So I've worked in A&E for 5 or 6 years now. I've been a qualified doctor for 7 or 8, and it's been a balance that I've always had. So whether it was when I was studying to become a doctor or when I've since qualified, I've always played netball alongside my academics or alongside work. And it's something that's probably kept me on a bit of a straight and narrow, and I suppose given me a different perspective and different qualities that I think I'm able to bring on the court as well. It's a big balancing act, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I've bitten off a bit more than I can chew on some weeks. But it allows me to try and make the most out of everything that I am doing. So if I'm there for a 2-hour court session, I want to really put the effort in on those 2 hours, because I know that's a really important amount of time that I need to be there. And the same with work. When I'm there, I sort of want to try and be as efficient as possible, and make the most out of that time, because I know that I don't have a massive amount of it in the week. But in the grand scheme, in terms of the team, there's so many players balancing lots of different things, and mine is just a little bit different to some of the others.
Is it really important to you to continue doing your work as a doctor as well? I know that netball is your passion too, but is it really nice for you to be able to go and do something a little bit different?
Yeah, I think it's always something that I've thought about, and if you had asked me probably 4 or 5 years ago, I'd been like, oh, don't take that aspect away from me, because it's something it's really important to me. I really, really enjoy my job, and I want to progress in that as well. And as I've said before, it probably does give really good perspective. There's been times I've gone in to a shift after I've lost a really crucial game, or perhaps you're not playing as well yourself, and you go in and you meet a patient that's having a horrendous time with their health, or have received really bad news, and it puts things into real perspective for me in terms of like what is really important here, and how lucky am I to be able to be fit enough to get up and walk and do day-to-day activities, let alone be able to go and play sport at a professional level and be paid for that. So sometimes it sort of opens my eyes a little bit to what's really important in life as well. But equally, whenever work's a little bit hard, I come in and you're training with the girls and the crack's good, it completely takes my mind off it. And so it's quite a nice balance to strike. Would I like to work a little bit less? I think so. And if the opportunity came to be full-time netballer and not have to do the shifts for a couple of years, it's one I'd grab with both hands, I think, at this stage.
That's so interesting that you say that, though, because we're looking now at a Netball Super League season with so many changes, so much progression in terms of being professional within this sport. For you, looking back on when you first started playing netball and now seeing the opportunities available to the youngsters just getting into it, is that something that's quite amazing to see?
Yeah, I think so, especially as a girl from Northern Ireland. It's such a rapid progression that I've seen in my career. Like, I've been in the real transition period. I can remember going to like bag packing sessions and I could name 10, 20 different fundraisers that we've done at home to go to major competitions and for kit and things like that. And then to turn up at this stage and be paid to play and be provided with all those facilities without having to fundraise is such a marked difference. And sometimes I look at the younger ones and I think, God, you're so lucky. And if only I'd have been born 10 years later, being full-time professional and not having to think about another job at this stage and be able to focus everything into your play on court and recovery and all of that stuff is such a dream. But part of the reason why I'm here and part of the reason why I wanted to continue playing and play professionally is that I want to sort of lead the way for the girls in Northern Ireland, and I want them to look and think like, oh, okay, like we're from this really small country, but it's really possible to go across and play in a professional league and be a captain of a professional team, and that's part of my why, and it's really important to me to sort of show a path for those girls because it's possible for anybody to do, especially now.
That's amazing. Let's talk a little bit more about Nottingham Forest Netball and how you guys have been getting on. In terms of, the idea of getting this team to gel so quickly is one that I think's kind of unique to you and the Birmingham Panthers being the two newest teams. What do you think has been working so well to get you guys to where you are now in such a short space of time?
I think it all comes down to the people, and the recruitment piece for Chelsea at the start was all about the people. You can put together 10 of the best netballers in the world and it might not necessarily click, but if you get 10 of the right people in a room with the same vision and the same goal, which we all have, amazing things can happen in a very small space of time. And I've been lucky to be in a couple of different teams through my career that have had that similar ethos, and it's something that I've really seen come to life in this group, and it's something that's really excited me because you don't need to be a team of 10 superstars to win the league. You just need to be a group of 10 people who want to work hard for each other. And we've seen that in the pre-season. We've had people in and out with international duty, which has been really exciting for them. But the last couple of weeks, we've had the full 10 back in training again. And boy, does it look really exciting on and off the court. But immediately the personalities are gelling. And I think that's all come down to what Chelsea is speaking about at the top. And that comes down into the group. And we're ultimately, we believe in Chelsea and her way and her vision for this franchise. And it seems to be all blending quite nicely together as the pre-season's coming to an end and we're going to get to put out in court soon.
And something that's really exciting and progressive is the fact that Nottingham Forest Netball will be one of 2 teams in the league to be playing all their home games at an arena, your home being the Motorpoint Arena. Now, I know that you would have played them the season opener last year. And, you know, we've had some international games there this year already too. How excited are you to see that place packed out with Nottingham Forest fans just cheering there for you?
We are so excited. We went down last week as a group and got a bit of a tour, and we saw there was a big poster of the 10 NSL girls and the Next Gen girls all up on the wall, and it was like, wow, oh my goodness, this is actually our home ground. This is where we want teams to come and really fear to come and play against us. And I've been lucky enough to play at the Motorpoint a few times now, and it has a really intimate, close feel, the way that the stadium is made, and it's always electric on that court. And I'm sure anybody that went to watch the recent Nations Cup there would have felt that. And I know I watched a couple of the games from home, and the TV cameras spanning across the crowd, I saw a lot of Forest fans in the crowd already there wearing their Nottingham Forest tops. So that was so good to see, and I just hope that we can, you know, have a couple of ongoing netball fans, but hopefully a few football fans as well that want to come and check out what the netball is about. And I think if anywhere's going to excite people about it, it's going to be down at the Motorpoint.
Now, I think this is a bit of a tricky question because we talk about all the changes that is happening, this new team, the super shot, the new broadcasting deals that have happened for this sport, all to look forward to for this year. But if you had to pinpoint one thing that you are most excited about for this new season, what would that be?
I think it's a super shot. It is controversial, which I think is good for sport and everything. But we've seen what it's done across in the Suncorp in Australia. We have an Australian head coach. She has played the super shot. She has lived and breathed it for the last couple of years. So what a privileged position to be in, to have that intel and that knowledge and that insight in how it works. But also what a way to like swing the league. You know, hopefully it'll bring games tighter. It'll bring games more exciting. And we have 3-4 really good super shooters that, you know, when they're hot and handed, we're going to have a couple of exciting games with that super shot. So that's what I'm most looking forward to.
Well, Niamh, we are so excited to finally get to see you guys take to the court. Thank you so much.
Thank you.